Welcome to Mind Over Legal Matter, where we approach Florida bar essays one mindful step at a time. In today's video, I'm going to discuss some common reasons why students fail the exam overall. There are 3 common reasons, in my opinion, why students fail the exam repeatedly. Wait till you hear what number 1 is. But for now, let's start with number 3. Number 3, the student wanted to get an A on the exam. This is a very common reason why students fail the exam on their first try. They almost treat it like a law school exam, but it's not quite the same. First, because there's much more material covering multiple subjects on the bar exam versus the individual law exam, not just the one subject you needed to review for that one law school exam. Second, the amount of information for each subject you study for the bar exam goes very deep, but also broad. So think of it like a huge ocean of information. Students who want to get an A on the exam have to study the entire ocean of information, which is impossible. This is because students often think that they need to score 100% to pass the exam, which then translates into obsessing and trying to know every little detail, every rule that could possibly be tested, every possible exception, every nuance, and wasting hours on something that might not even be tested. So often when I interact with the student, I will say, okay, so you're worried about not knowing every single thing about torts. I get it. You want to be extra prepared. So how about we start with just the basics? Do you know what negligent infliction of emotional distress is? And the student could say something like, well, I kind of know it, but isn't there an exception in Florida? I don't really know the distinction. And what about bystander? I remember something about a bystander, but I don't exactly know what it is. And I have to redirect and say, well, do you know the basic rule? And ultimately, the student will not even know the basic rule. Negligent. Emotional distress, physical manifestation. And this is because they are so worried about not knowing the Florida distinction or any other nuance related to NIED that they just gloss over knowing the basic rule. They're so worried about getting every little thing right that they actually don't get anything at all. Don't get so caught in the weeds that you miss the first step in studying for the exam, which is knowing and understanding the foundational rules for each subject. Don't try to get an A on the exam. You don't need to get an A in order to pass. If you really have an issue with perfection or wanting to really master the material at an A level, perhaps the better solution for you would be to take only one part of the exam, if that is the case. This would give you ample time to cover the subjects masterfully for one portion of the exam. However, my thoughts are that it would be better if you just accepted the fact that you don't need an A in order to pass the exam overall, and therefore would study accordingly. For more resources, please visit mindoverlegalmatter.com or floridabarexamcoach.com. Bye for now.